I am Danilo Jordan Albano, and this is third year criminology, and this is the latest human rights issues in the Philippines. First, serious human rights abuse continued in the Philippines in 2021. On September 15, the International Criminal Court agreed to open a formal investigation into possible crimes against humanity committed during President Rodrigo Duterte's war on drugs from 2016 to 2019, and extrajudicial execution committed in Davao City in the southern Philippines from 2011 to 2016, when Duterte was mayor. In October, Maria Ressa, the co-founder of the executive editors of the news website Rappler, won the Nobel Peace Prize for defending media freedom, especially for resisting the Duterte government's attempt to muzzle the press. In July, the Philippine government and the United Nations launched a joint human rights program to address human rights violations and accountability failings in the country, reflecting domestic and international concern about drug wars killing. Right groups including Human Rights Watch consider the program inadequate and continue to call for an independent international investigations. Killing of civilians, reg tagging, accusing activists and others of being components of supporters of the Communist New People's Army are academic to government's counter-insurgency campaign. Many of those ragtag are subsequently killed. Journalists covering the insurgency of investigating abuse, corruption also face harassment and violence. Um, next human rights violation issues, drug war killings and the ICC. In September, a pre-trial chamber of the ICC granted as a prosecutor request from open a formal investigation into alleged crimes against humanity and the Philippines from the time of the country ratified the ICC's Rome Statute on November 1, 2011, till its withdrawal from the treaty on March 16, 2019. In its decisions to greenlight the investigation, the pre-trial chamber started state government anti-drug campaign cannot be seen as legitimate law enforcement operation, and the killings neither the legitimate nor as mere excess in otherwise legitimate operations. It further said that there was been widespread and systematic attack against the civilian population as part of the state policy. The decision echoed claims by various rights groups that between 12,000 and 30,000 people have been killed in the drug war. The government-owned data shows more 6,190 people who were killed in the police operations from 2016 to August 2021. The Department of Justice, which announced in June 2020 the creation of a panel that would review in depth in the drug war attribute to police officers, said in September 2021 that it was now investigate 52 cases involving 154 police officers implicated questionable killings. This followed admission from before UN Human Council in February that officers failed to follow protocols during operations. In many cases, police made no effort to examine allegedly recovered weapons, verify ownership, or conduct ballistic examinations. In most of the cases, the Department of Justice reviewed police also failed to follow standard protocols in coordination of drugs raids in the processing of crime scene evidence. The Justice Department investigation has faced criticism for repeated delays, lack of transparency, and refusal to involve the National Commission on Human Rights in its review. Corresponding to the criticism, the department released on October preliminary report affirming that police were culpable in at least 52 cases and promised to investigate further. Next, killing an activist, next human rights issues, killing an activist right defenders. The country 52 years along communist insurgency continued in 2021 during the counter-insurgency operation against New People's Army, or NPA. Government security force frequently target leftist activists, including peasant leaders, environmentalists, human rights lawyers, and indigenous groups ahead, among others. Government and military officials often ragtag such individuals through announcement on social media, putting them at grave risk of attack. In March 9, individuals belonging to different activist groups were killed during police raids in the Calabarzon region south of Manila. All this guild will previously accused communist involvement. The simultaneous police raid occurred 2 days after President Duterte publicly ordered law enforcement officials to finish off communist insurgents. Human rights groups reject claims that the victims were rebel supporters. In December 2020, police killed 9 members of an indigenous people community in the island of Panay in the central Philippines. The counterinsurgency campaign has likewise targeted lawyers, including some representing clients who have been red tagged in Cebu City. August gunmen shot dead Rex Fernandez, a human rights lawyer whose group, the Nation Union Police Lawyer, provide legal service of activists. One makababad, a human rights lawyer who worked on the environment and indigenous rights case, was shot dead in September by gunmen in South Cotabato province in the southern Philippines. The National Task Force on Ending Local Communist Armed Conflict is the main government agency engaged in red tagging. It is composed of officials from several government agencies, including the military and the police. In addition to activities and lawyers, the task force has red tagged journalists, media group, and even civilian volunteers. One of the tools government has been using against activists and Anti-Terrorism Act Law Duterte signed July 2020, various groups denounced law because, as the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights noted, dilutes human rights safeguard and creates chilling effect on human rights and humanitarian works. Since its passage, the law has been challenged but has also been used by government activists, indigenous people unionists, as well as allied communist insurgents. So next issues is COVID-19. There were fewer COVID-19 related rights violation in the Philippines during the second year of the pandemic compared to the first, which had been harsh treatment of quarantine violators by law enforcement, age-based restriction on movement for those under 18 and over 65 years old, prevented children and older people from leaving their homes. Also in October, the government eased the restrictions. School remained closed nationwide at the time of rating affection education of 28.5 million students. Authorities imposed strict quarantine regulation across the country and had arrested tens of thousands of people for quarantine violations, some of whom spent time in detention, while majorities were given warning, fined, in order to do a community service. In November, the government eased these restrictions. Detention facilities in the Philippines have always congested, posing considerable challenge for the vaccination, with authorities reporting success in some pre-trial of hoarding facilities but not in orders. Critics accuse the government of mishandling its response to the pandemic, including indicate initial vaccination rollout. Vaccination for the general population began in November. There also have been complaints of inadequate financial support for the communities affected by lockdown, as well as failure to pay frontline health workers properly and on time, including some to quit. In September, a Senate committee uncovered alleged corruption in the government purchase of medical supplies favoring individuals identified with the administration. So next human rights issues, freedom of media. Media freedom and freedom expression receiving a big boost in October when Maria Ressa, and co-founder of executive editors of the new website Rappler, was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize along with Russian editor Dmitry Muratov. Ressa and Rappler have been target of reprisal from Duterte's government and its supporters for the website reporting on drug war, killing, and for helping to expose what Ressa called the 30 weaponizations of the internet to target government critics and dissidents. The killing of journalists continues. In October, Orlando Dinoy of New Lines Philippines Energy Radio RM was killed inside his home in Digos City. In July, is identified gunman shot dead Reynante Cortez, a radio broadcaster, as he was leaving his radio station in Cebu City, in the central Philippines. Cortez was known for his own irreverent commentary on local politics and corruptions. In November 20, gunman killed newspaper columnist and radio commentator Virgilio Maganes in Villasis Town, Pangasinan, a province north of Manila. In April, journalism from Northern Dispatch, a weekly newspaper, were harassed by municipal police in Kalinga province in northern Philippines for covering an event organized by leftist groups. Journalists of the same newspaper was red tagged by authorities. In September, leftist media organization Bulatlat and Alter Media accused the Philippines military of launching denials of service attacks of their website. And next is children's rights. Philippine Civil sets out the person can only allege married age of 18. But this law does not apply to Muslim. Under another law, Muslim boy can marry age of 15 while girl can marry off when she reach puberty. The proposed Girls Not Bridge Act passed both House and Philippines Congress, and waiting President Duterte signature will make it unlawful for anyone married a child younger than 18 and make it criminal offense on officiate such an union. According to the UN, 1 in 6 Filipino girls are married before age of 18. And next, key international actors. The United States continues to provide military assistance to the Philippines despite the 30 government's poor human rights records. In June, the Biden administration notified Congress of a proposed sale of $2.5 billion in arms of the Philippines, including fighters, jets, and 2 kinds of missiles. In September, both countries announced that they were start defense cooperation agreements that they had been stalled. President Duterte aerial threat withdraw, including agreement building facilities for U.S. troops in the Philippines. In February, the EU and the Philippines have bilateral human rights talks. The Philippines continue to enjoy EU trade benefits pursuant to the General System of Preference Plus, which are conditional free ratification and implementation of 27 International Convention of Human Rights, Labor Rights, and Governance. The EU postponed the GSP Monitoring Commission citing COVID concerns. Negotiations for the EU-Philippines Free Trade Agreement, on the other hand, have been present since 2019 human rights concerns related to drug war. In July, the Philippines United Nations signed 3 years joint program in aims that improve human rights situation in the country. The program, which criticism deems indicate was in UN response to calls by members of Human Rights Council. The program's components include creation of the national mechanism for reporting and follow-up in human rights, as well as human rights-based approach in drug control. So yun yung mga so that's all the human rights issues, latest human rights issues, and this is all my videos.